Hey there, friends. A commenter brought something to my attention yesterday, and I thought it would be a good idea to open it up to community discussion. So, let's do that. The commenter in question, which no negativity to them whatsoever. I appreciate them sharing their thoughts, especially on an issue like this. So, they commented on my release day video for The Boy Who Was Kissed, saying they would be boycotting the book because of the use of AI art on the cover. And there's Darla in the background. Now, before we get any further, I do want to clarify the actual cover of The Boy Who Was Kissed does not use AI art. It was made by the publisher's creative team, and the graphic artist who put it together was paid for their work. However, I have been using Adobe Firefly to help create promotional images and mock-up book covers for some of my books, including The Boy Who Was Kissed. So yeah, the misunderstanding there is definitely on me. So I wanted to talk a little about my feelings when it comes to AI art, and then open up the floor for you folks to share your thoughts in a safe space, hopefully free of judgment and like nastiness. So I would ask that anyone who comments, please try to be respectful and kind. And the goal here is to consider different aspects of the discussion while still being polite to the people we're discussing it with. So with that said, AI. It's a very contentious issue these days, and with good reason. There's talk of using it to write books and make movies and basically put a lot of hardworking creative people out of work, and that's really horrible. It's removing the human element from the things we use to express our humanity and connect with other humans. And in my opinion, at least, that's definitely not how it should be used. I'm not, however, of the opinion that we should avoid all use of AI entirely, because I do think it has its uses, but as an aid to creative people, not as a replacement for them. So, for example, in my day job, I'm an editor for a trade magazine, and we often use ChatGPT to help us brainstorm headline ideas for our articles. The headlines it suggests usually range from vaguely useful to completely weird and not useful at all, but they help kind of get the creative juices flowing, and often we can like pluck a word from this one or that one and then come up with a headline that suits us from that. So I do think AI has a place and it can be very helpful. But now let's talk about what brought us here in the first place, which is AI art specifically. So as I mentioned already, I have used Adobe Firefly, which is an Adobe program that generates images using Adobe's catalog of stock art and photos. I've used that to create images of my book characters specifically. I've then used those images in the promotion of my books because, first of all, it gives me a lot of joy to see visual representations of what my characters might actually look like. And second, because I am someone who is eternally broke and thus just unfortunately cannot afford to pay for commissioned art very frequently. I have commissioned artists in the past when I've been able to, but like as a small time author who is barely making enough money to live on, there's just no way I could hire an artist for every little promotional graphic I put out there or for every single character in my books. I guess my general stance on AI art up to now has been, if you're using it as an alternative to hiring and paying an artist, you should definitely hire and pay the artist instead. And if you're a big corporation, 100%, like you should not be using it to replace artists. You can afford to pay them, so you should pay them. But if you're using it just for fun or for something where hiring an artist was never an option, maybe it's okay. Like that was my stance. But now I'm thinking it over some more, and I do want to discuss it with all of you to see what you think. Because, am I just making excuses here because I want to have pretty art of my characters? Because using AI art does send a certain message, and it can make people who create art feel like the person using it does not respect their craft or is okay with them being replaced by these like twisted mock-ups created using artificial intelligence. Honestly, the whole thing made me think a lot about my arguments about playing that Harry Potter game that came out a while ago. So my stance then was that, and still, was that it might be something that brings you joy. And the Harry Potter world definitely brought me a lot of joy way back when too. But giving your money to J.K. Rowling still makes me, a trans person, feel like you don't care about all the harm she's been doing to trans people who are just trying to live their lives in an increasingly hostile environment. So, am I doing the same thing here? Am I sending the message that I don't care about the harm AI is doing to artists and other creative people by using these images? Maybe I am. So I'm going to think hard on this subject, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. I'll also say that last night, after receiving that comment, I created a new cover for The Boy Who Was Kissed that I'll be using in promotional posts. And while it doesn't have the same like photorealistic quality that makes me feel like I'm actually looking at the faces of my characters, everything in it was made by humans with no use of AI whatsoever. I've also gone through my website and changed the mock-up book covers that use AI generated images. And from here on out, I'm just going to try to be more aware of how my use of AI images might make other people feel. So that's basically all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get that topic out there, explain my thought process, and invite all of you to share your thoughts. I also want to apologize for any of my artist friends, or just any artist out there in general, who saw my use of AI generated images and did not feel great about that. I had justified it in my own mind, but that doesn't mean it was the right thing to do. So that's about all. That's gonna do it for this video, I guess. Just a short video inviting discussion. I really would like to hear your thoughts, so please feel free to leave a comment below. And thank you for your patience as I strive to be a good person, but don't always manage it. So, okay, that's all. Talk to you guys later. Bye.